When I first saw the trailer for this game last year, I got really intrigued. It looked and played like a teen indie movie, so I was really looking forward to it. Now that the final chapter is here, I'm going to talk about it as a whole. This game was developed by Don't Nod Entertainment, who also made Remember Me, and this game was released bi-monthly in 5 chapters, similar to what Telltale Games does, but unfortunately, they also fall into the same traps as Telltale. So this game is set in the fictional town of Arcadia Bay, where you play as an 18-year-old photography student named Max Caulfield. She's sort of a shy, unconfident introvert, and to be fair, I find her personality a little tough to identify with, since you often get choices in dialogue to help develop her, but it isn't always consistent. So one day after class, Max goes into the restroom to relax for a second when a few moments later, she witnesses a girl being shot by the son of the town's rich family. Max helplessly tries to stop it, but then a strange phenomenon happens. She actually has the ability to rewind time itself. How did she suddenly get this ability? Who cares, it's just awesome. With her newfound power, Max is able to save the girl's life, and as it turns out, this girl was once Max's old friend Chloe, voiced by Ashley Birch. When the two reunite, Chloe shows Max that things have changed since they lost contact. Chloe's mother is now remarried to the school security officer, and now her best friend Rachel Amber has gone missing. So Max willingly helps Chloe try to find Rachel, and this leads to a lot of very exciting events. I was worried that the time reversal element would take away from the realism, but fortunately, it mostly stays as an element in gameplay. Remember when I overviewed Remember Me, I said that their memory remixing minigames could easily hold a game of their own? Well, that wish has been answered, because there are moments in the game where you have to rewind time in an event in order to solve a puzzle by setting up objects in a certain order to progress. These play out really well, but unfortunately there are moments that don't work very well. There's a part in episode 2 where Max has to prove her powers to Chloe, and as if it wasn't enough to simply predict the future, there's this elaborate puzzle with a ton of dialogue choices with only one right answer. If you happen to get just 1 point wrong, you're forced to do the whole thing again, but one thing I have to give them credit for is that they actually do have a button to skip cutscenes that you've already seen, which allows you to explore all dialogue options before making a final decision. Speaking of which, whenever you need to make a serious decision that will affect the story, you are given a moment to think, and I especially love how Max weighs the pros and cons of each choice, so it really puts you on the spot. Some other gameplay elements include a brain-bending puzzle in episode 4 where you have to find where Rachel was last seen, and it was actually very rewarding, but there are also some not that great stealth segments in episodes 3 and 5, and since Max can always rewind her way out of trouble, it takes away a lot of the suspense. In a similar sense to Until Dawn, this game also revolves around the butterfly effect, where actions made in the present can have consequences down the line, but it's done in a much more poetic and literal sense, where an actual storm approaches to bring destruction, but I did enjoy how this element was built up. Max is an alright character, albeit a little inconsistent in her personality. Chloe is a lot of fun, and is a perfect contrast to Max by being a rebellious, outgoing extrovert. The rest of the main characters are okay, but the other students at the school are just so forgettable. Max has a short description for each of them, and they play very little importance in the story. They can each be summarized with just one personality trait: the skater, the junkie, the goth, the nerd, the bully jock, the sketchbook artist, the prissy cheerleader, and very little else can be said about them. One of the main things that drew my attention is the art direction. Everything looks beautiful, from the lighting to the music to the brushstroke aesthetic of the characters and environment, and by having a jittery outline around interactable objects really sells the indie movie feel. I'm not even going to bother complaining about the lip sync and dialogue because those are pretty trivial at this point, but I will say that the storytelling isn't the best nor the worst I've ever seen. However, there are some elements that are handled very well, such as a shady school party club, a flawed balance of power between the school and the town, and even a friend contemplating suicide. I'm very glad I found this game because it has a very rare overall charm by covering a film genre that we don't often see, and at first, I was a little concerned if I was the only one who actually knew about this game. In fact, it would concern me if no one played it, but apparently a lot of people did, and they really like it. Like all episodic games, it has its ups and downs, but what's good about it is just too good. Give it a shot if you haven't already.
What the hell is this? The weather confirms this weird day. Feel that chill.
Max, there was no eclipse scheduled today. I would know. I would.
I believe you, Warren. I'll believe anything this week.